Distracted by Thundercat. Distracted is the fifth studio album by American musician Thundercat. It was released on April 3rd, 2026. It's been 6 years since his previous release. Eric, your initial thoughts on the brand new album by Thundercat?
So I have never heard of this guy before, ever.
Okay.
So until this, so I don't have any like kind of light to stand on with this record. Um, I felt like the timing of the record was perfect, coming in almost at 50 minutes. Like it's decent timing for a
Mm-hmm.
record. Um, I didn't mind the opening like half of the like the album. Like it wasn't too bad. Like I didn't have anything bad to say. But then as the album went on, it got a little bit repetitive, it felt. And I felt like the last like the last songs on the album, it was like almost like when we're getting into like Posal, ADD through the roof, Great Americans. I felt like it was just some guy, like one of your friends that plays guitar, and they're just standing there, just strumming a chord and just singing everything that they're seeing, like or like you're doing.
Okay.
Like,
Okay. Yep.
there's Alex. He's on the podcast again, right? And then it's this. I felt like it was like, are you running out of ideas, or is this like a like? Is this supposed to mean something, right?
Mm, okay.
I
Interesting.
do I did like the reference, in track 8, Anakin learns his fate. Like, I thought it
Mm.
was kind of like he's definitely you could tell he's gotta be a Star Wars nerd, right? Which I always, like, have, like, a soft spot for nerds because 'cause I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, right? So, like, any little, like, nuance, it's like, "Oh, I like that." And, I did like how he used the line, "These aren't the droids you're looking for." I thought that was very clever.
Just to
Um
cut you off there, Joel
Sure.
Esmet was featured on that song. I think he has writing credits too, but the
Okay.
actor who played child Anakin in episode 1 is featured on this on Anakin Learns
Oh,
His Fate,
really?
which is like
Okay.
which is a pretty cool shoe in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just the beginning half was very like loungy feeling. Like it almost sounded like Enya, but trying to
Okay.
trying to do
I Yep.
like rhythm and blues,
Yep. Yeah, yeah.
right? So
Interesting.
that's the take I got from it.
How did you
Um
like the opening track Candlelight? Because that was like pretty for me that was pretty out there in terms of the chord choices. Very like jazz fusion jazzy because it
yeah.
wasn't like this typical major minor chords that he used.
I didn't mind it. Like again, like I was pulled in at the very beginning of this record, and then as it started going on, I was just like, this is I don't know. It just felt like it was losing its lackluster throughout as it. I like, and I don't know whether like this is just a Thundercat kind of sound and how he does this. So I can't really base anything off of this, but I'm sure there's other stuff that people are like, "Yo, you got to check out this album. It's gonna be sick or whatever," right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just felt like it started sounding the same, and the lyrics were starting to get weaker and weaker as the songs went on.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Um, I generally I do agree with you. I think this album started really strong and then it tailed off at the end in general. However, my
Mhm.
favorite song on the album is Walking on the Moon, track 9. I
Okay.
thought that was just like such a good song on this record. It just grooved and it just like was a
Mhm.
standout. And even I even like Thunderwave, which was featuring Will Smith's
Okay.
daughter. I thought that song was really good too. I really like that one. But in general, yeah, the flow, I really like the beginning and then it sort of tailed off at the end. Although lyrically, and I'm sure if you were to like spend a whole month on it, there's probably like layers and layers on top of this. Um, but yeah, lyrically, it was like pretty out there.
Mhm.
I can't remember which track it was, but I think it was like the second track, No More Lies. There's like like spoken word like skits in
Yeah.
it, And I was
When
just
he's like
like,
talking to his therapist.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, that's pretty cool. But then like multiple listens is sort of like, it loses that sort of uniqueness about
Yeah,
it.
I got that song though. Like I understood that song and it kind of worked because it's like that whole like, like you shouldn't lie to people, but however, like sometimes lying to people is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's just like, well, I want to feel good so I could sleep at night, so I'm going to tell the truth, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like you're conflicted with social norms, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um because it's not only that you can't really behave internally. Like I felt the struggle. Like you can't like have your beliefs like because and wear them on your sleeve to an extent because then people are going to judge you for certain
Mm-hmm.
like ideas or topics that you disagree or agree with, right?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I thought, the harmonies he used and the rhythms he used on this, and I do have to say, Thundercat. I don't know if you know this, but he is primarily a bass player. So
Okay.
my bass playing heart has a kinship to Thundercat because I was listening to some of the stuff that he was doing on this record on the bass. It's like that's so cool. that is
Nice.
that is like a really cool bass thing that you've just done. Um, he has I think recently he worked with Ibanez. He has a signature model. It's a
Ooh.
6-string hollow body electric bass.
Wow.
And
I
it's
didn't know
just
that they come in hollow
I
bodies.
know. It's 6-string too. I was like, it's so cool that they made that thing. But yeah, that's his signature bass. So like as a bass player, I really appreciated this record because it wasn't
Mhm.
overly flashy. Like he wasn't like noodling all the time. But there were things in
Mhm.
there that's a really groovy bass line in there. While he's singing, it's like even more impressive. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I just really like the record. I like the groove of it. I think the last track. I think you could have taken out maybe the 2 or 3 tracks at the end.
Mhm.
If you got this down to like 12, I think it'd be really like tight and good. Because I think it did meander a little bit too much. Um, but I don't know. I just like listening to this thing. It was sort of similar to the Flea record that we
Mhm.
listened to last week, where it was like there's a lot going on, but it just like
Yes.
grooves really well, and the musicianship is there. And although there aren't any like quote unquote hit singles on this record, I thought it was still like a solid output of an album.
Mhm.
I think that'd be the one thing that's missing from this one. I would say Walking on the Moon for me would have been like a lead single type of thing.
Yeah.
But even that, there's nothing in here that's really like you hum, that's stuck in your head. It's like not an earworm at the end of the day for this record.
Yeah. Like, I would put this record on, and I felt like this, like, if you needed to do, like, just, like, pay the bills or, like, something with, like, deep focus,
Yeah.
like, this is a perfect album for that to listen to,
Mm-hmm.
because it just kinda had that, like, loungy groove
Mm-hmm.
to it, which is great. I do wanna talk about Great Americans
Oh,
because
okay. Okay.
as much as I'm kinda conflicted with this song
Okay.
because I get the idea behind it. It's almost like this, like, utopian society that's, like, perfect, but I just felt like he just rambled on too much about it, that it was like, okay, like, I felt like I like the idea you were going with, like, everybody has to have that, like, perfect cookie cutter house and
Mm-hmm.
live the American dream to, like, what the government wants you to live, and it's like, it even like, the song sounded cool because it was almost like this eerie, like, 1984,
Yeah.
like, society, right? Which was kinda neat because it's like everything's great, but it's not great. Like, it's actually not great. So, I like the idea, but I felt like the lyrics were just rambling on kind of nonsense. So, I was kinda conflicted with this song because I was like, "Oh, you had the idea and you had the music behind it,
Mm-hmm.
but you just didn't deliver with the lyrics," I felt.
So I have a different thought on that. I think, and I think this goes for all the songs on this record. Um, I think the lyrics are. good to great. I think they all like I feel like it's just him expressing himself, and there's like deeper meanings to everything he's saying, and he's choosing the words to express those things.
Mhm.
I think on the flip side of that, however, I think the melody associated with those lyrics are relatively weak. I think
Mhm.
that's where I would have the criticism. Like I think the lyrics are very heartfelt or thoughtful, depending on the context. But I think it it's like a rambling of words that just comes out rather than thinking
Mm.
of the melody behind those lyrics.
I see.
Right? That would be my criticism of it. So I do
Okay.
agree that it is rambling, but if you were to just if this wasn't music and this was just poetry on a page, I think you would
Mm.
appreciate that a lot more than listening to these lyrics.
Okay. I could see
Yeah?
that. I could see that. Okay.
Because I think there's a lot of artists like that, especially like if I think of like a Kendrick Lamar, right? If you were to
Mhm.
put his lyrics on paper, they are like 1,000 times more impactful than how he is rapping it. Like
Mm.
not to discredit like his actual flow, because I think he's like the top MC today, but I think the written words are just more impactful than what you're listening to. So for like the hardcore fans, if you're just reading it off the page, you're just like, this is like genius level shit.
Yeah.
But for a casual listener, it's not going to catch your attention because there's nothing interesting or memorable going on until
Mm.
you actually like focus in on what he is actually saying. So I think this is sort of the
Okay.
same thing. It's just like the words have impact, but the delivery of that is just not there.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
Because like he meows in this song a lot, and there must be something. There must be a reason why he's meowing so much.
That's true. Okay. Okay.
But but within the confines of like this is music, you need to make it somewhat memorable or at least have a strong opinion on it. I think that is where it
Mm.
does fail.
Okay.
The actual melody behind the lyrics itself. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I really like just listening to this thing and the harmony. I think it was very not adventurous, but it was just like it wasn't your typical pop record that you listen to
Mhm.
these days, right? There's a lot of harmonies and different scales that he's using that aren't typically used in this sort of genre of music. So
Mhm.
for me, I just really appreciate it because it's like, oh, thank God it's not the same thing over and over again that I've just
Yes,
listened to on the radio.
it's definitely unique for sure. It's definitely unique, and for the most part, I did enjoy the music behind it.
Hmm.
I just felt like sometimes the lyrics were lacking, and maybe I just gotta give it another listen just to now that we've discussed this, 'cause that is interesting that you say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I feel like if you're like a hardcore fan who just like loves to deep dive into it, I think this is a record that you'll probably like.
Mhm.
But I don't know. It's hard to really. I would never recommend this to like a casual listener. I'm just like,
Mhm.
no, you should listen to something that's a bit more catchy than this or more earwormy than this. This one is
Yes.
more of this is more in the realms of a Bob Dylan, where like you actually need to pay attention to what this man is saying and not just
Yeah.
like listen to music for the enjoyment of it.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Eric. Final thoughts and ratings. What are you gonna give this one?
I mean, there were parts of this album that I thought were really cool, and then there were parts that were just like I didn't get it. Um, but just based off of the creativity and after our discussion, I was actually going to give this a low score.
Mm.
Um, so I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10.
Ooh.
I was going to
Okay.
give it lower than a 6 out of 10, but I can see him having a lot more like better stuff than this. So I'm very intrigued what the fans think and what they recommend is his best album or what I should go listen to. Because I'm not fully thrown off by Thundercat. Um
Mm.
I thought it was very like it's out there, which is unique, and he's definitely a good musician for sure.
Hmm.
100% he's a good musician, because like most like pop bands aren't going to come up with these like chord progressions at all.
Yeah.
Like these are very jazzy, like well thought out
Hmm.
like melodies. So yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. I actually really enjoyed it. I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of
Oh, I
10.
thought you were gonna go for the 10.
Oh no
The,
no 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 no! There's no way. This is not in the 10 realm. But I'm gonna give it an 8.5 because I just really appreciated sort of the uniqueness, and clearly it's his own voice. Like there, I would be hard pressed to be like, oh, Thundercat sounds like XYZ musician. Like
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of this is his own realm.
Yeah.
Obviously, like parts of it you can like, you know, it came from this or he was influenced by this, but this as a whole, I'd be like, oh, it's sort of like Kendrick, but it's sort of like jazz stuff. It's sort of R and
Yeah.
B, like there's a lot of elements. But I don't know who I would compare Thundercat to after listening to this record. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a difficult one. So I just really appreciated the uniqueness of it. And I think this is the type of record that if you listen to like more and not just a week, you'll get more out of it. It's one of those
Yeah.
slow burn albums. But yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8.5 because I really enjoyed it. Would I recommend it to people? Probably not.
Mhm.
I probably wouldn't recommend it
Okay.
to a casual listener, but I don't know. People in the comments, let us know. Is this
Mhm.
Thundercat's best record, or is there something else that we should listen to? Because it'd be, I would be really interested to see if like people are like, oh no, this is garbage. There's like something that's 100 times better. I'd be so interested to know if there is.
Yes. Yes.
Um, alrighty, that was our discussion on "Distracted" by Thundercat. It was a fun listen. Um, So, the Crossroads Music Podcast will be taking a short break for the next little bits. But when we do come back, the brand new Foo Fighters record is going to be out. Your favorite toy. So, that's the one that we're going to be discussing when we do come back. But we are taking a quick break, quick hiatus. Got to recharge the batteries. But
Mhm.
I'm intrigued to see what the new Foo Fighters record is going to sound like because
Yes.
there's a lot of drama in that band.
Right now there is, yeah. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Mostly with Dave Grohl's personal life, but
Yeah. I just I'm just curious to see what he comes out with, or if it just becomes generic Foo Fighters yet again. I'd be so interested to see what happens. But yeah, we'll be discussing your favorite toy by Foo Fighters when it comes out, when the Crossroads Music Podcast returns. So that's it for another episode of the podcast. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We're here live at twitch.tv/the Crossroads Music Podcast. Catch us on Spotify, Apple Music, all the places where you get your podcasts. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will catch you all next time.